Welcome to Amerixa Daily, where we break down the stories behind the headlines. I want to talk to you about something that sounds like a contradiction, almost like a rigged game hiding in plain sight. Beat. A man spends over 30 years inside the system, building influence, relationships, power. He knows the rules better than almost anyone. He is the system. And then, almost overnight, he loses, to someone with far less experience, but one very powerful endorsement. Think about that for a moment. Decades of political capital, erased by a single shift in momentum. Now zoom out. This isn't just one race. Across the country, we're seeing a pattern, long-time insiders losing to outsider-backed candidates. People who were once considered untouchable suddenly aren't. Millions of voters. Billions of dollars in political infrastructure. Entire party systems built over generations. And yet, one narrative, one endorsement, one shift in public sentiment can flip everything. So here's the paradox. If experience, loyalty, and long-term influence are supposed to guarantee power, why do they keep losing to sudden waves of disruption? Why does the system keep producing its own challengers? And more importantly, is the system actually losing control, or is this how it's designed to work? Because once you start looking closely, something doesn't add up, the obvious answer and why it's wrong. Now, the obvious answer is simple. People say, voters just wanted change. Right? A long-time politician gets replaced because people are tired. They want something new. Fresh energy. Different leadership. That's the intuitive explanation. And on a small scale, it makes sense. Think about it like this. Imagine you've been going to the same restaurant for 30 years. Same menu, same flavors. Eventually, you might want to try something different. Something exciting. So you switch, simple. But here's where that explanation starts to break down. Because politics isn't a restaurant choice. This isn't just one person deciding to try something new. This is millions of coordinated decisions happening at the same time. And more importantly, these decisions often go against what logic would suggest. Think about it. Why would voters replace someone experienced with someone less tested? Why would a system built on stability suddenly reward unpredictability? And here's the deeper question. If voters are truly in control, why do these shifts feel so sudden, so amplified, almost like they're being triggered rather than slowly built? Because in reality, large-scale political change doesn't behave like small personal decisions. It behaves like something else entirely. Something layered. Something interconnected. And that's where things start to get interesting. Layer by layer reveal. Layer 1, the system competes with itself. Let's start with the first layer. The system is not one unified structure. It's made up of competing factions within itself. Think about that. Political parties aren't just single entities. Inside them are different groups, different interests, different visions of the future. Some want stability. Others want disruption. Some benefit from keeping things the same. Others gain power by changing everything. So when an outsider candidate rises, they're not just challenging the system. They're often being pushed by a part of the system itself. It's like the left pocket and the right pocket of the same jacket competing over which one holds the wallet. Same jacket, different priorities. And when one side gains momentum, it can suddenly overpower decades of established influence. That's why experience alone isn't enough. Because experience ties you to one version of the system, while the system itself may already be evolving beyond you. Layer 2, the voters are both the cause and the effect. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Layer 2, the voters themselves. We like to think of voters as independent decision-makers. But in reality, they are both influencing the system and being influenced by it at the same time. Think about media, messaging, social conversations, online trends. A single endorsement doesn't just exist, it spreads, it amplifies, it shapes perception. And perception becomes reality. So voters aren't just reacting. They're reacting to reactions. They see momentum, and they join it. They see a candidate gaining attention, and suddenly that candidate feels more electable. It's a feedback loop. And in that loop, power can shift incredibly fast. So when an outsider candidate starts gaining traction, it's not just about policy or experience anymore. It's about perception of momentum. And once that momentum crosses a certain threshold, it becomes unstoppable. Layer 3, the human story. Let me make this real for you. Imagine someone like David. David is a middle-aged working professional. He's followed politics casually for years. He respects experience. He values stability. For most of his life, he would naturally support someone who's been in office for decades. But this time, something feels different. He starts hearing more about the challenger. Friends are talking about them. Social media is full of clips, headlines, opinions. At first, he's skeptical. But then, he notices something. More people are supporting the challenger. More energy. More noise. More attention. And slowly, his perception shifts. He starts thinking, maybe this person actually has a chance. And that thought changes everything. Because now he's not just choosing between two candidates. He's choosing between the past and what feels like the future. And in that moment, he switches. Now multiply David by millions. That's how decades of power can disappear almost overnight. Not because people suddenly rejected experience, but because perception reshaped reality. The mind shift conclusion. So here's the twist. The system isn't breaking when outsiders win. It's revealing how it actually works. Power isn't just about experience. It's not just about loyalty. And it's definitely not just about time served. Power is about alignment. Alignment between internal forces within the system. Alignment between public perception and momentum. And alignment between what people believe is happening and what they think will happen next. Think about that for a moment. Because it means something deeper. The people who hold power aren't always the ones who've had it the longest. They're the ones who are most in sync with the current moment. And the moment can change, fast. Faster than experience can adapt. Faster than systems can stabilize. And once that shift happens, everything else follows. So the next time you see a political upset, don't just ask, how did the outsider win? Ask something more important. What changed in the system that made this outcome inevitable? Because once you start seeing politics this way, you stop thinking of it as a stable structure. And start seeing it as a constantly shifting balance of perception, power, and momentum. And trust me, once you see that, you'll never look at elections the same way again. This is Amerixa Daily, bringing you the deeper story behind the headlines. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any important news.